Hey everyone, so welcome to the first forging video of Back to Basics with blacksmithing. So I got my anvil set up here, did a video about that, so hop over if you haven't seen it yet. Also got my forge going right now. It's heating up 3/8 square stock. So what I would recommend as a beginner blacksmith, one of your first projects that you should do is leaf keychain. It's just a simple leaf key fob that we're going to be doing. So we got a leaf on the top and then just a little circle for your keys. So I'm going to show you how I work through that. When you're first starting off, I would probably recommend you doing as many of these as you can possibly do until you get too bored of them. So, 20, 25, 30 of them. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah, like, subscribe. So on our first heat, we're going to make a taper right on the edge. So we're just going to take it down to the edge of the anvil and just work out that taper. Do a blow and turn it. Once it gets low on the heat side, we're going to put it back in. Okay, so we're just going to keep on working that taper down right on the edge of the anvil. You want your steel, you're going to hold your steel up on a slight angle. You're just going to continue working that down. So you got something kind of like that. I'm going to take another heat, and now we're going to work on the shoulders of the leaf. So now we're going to go at the edge of the taper, half on, half off, and we're going to set that shoulder. Then we're going to turn it 90 degrees, line up that shoulder on the other side, and do a half on, half off. And then we're going to turn it. And as every blow, we're going to turn it 90 degrees back and forth. And take your time. And set that shoulder real nice. We're going to work that shoulder down so it's about half the size. So I'm going to take one more heat just to clean up that shoulder a little bit, and we'll go from there. So we're going to go back, set it right up against your radius, and work that down a little bit more. Like I said, we're going to go about half the thickness of the parent steel. Got it pretty well there. Now the reason why you want to leave that thickness there is because while you were starting to work the back side, this little piece, because there's weight there, will want to flop around. And by doing that flopping around, if you don't have enough material there, it actually will cause a stress crack and it will just pop right off. I've done that many times before I realized that I was thinning this out too much. But you pretty well want to leave it at about half of the parent, and then we're going to start working the far side and working out that taper. Okay, so we're going to go about, I would say, 1.5 inches away from the first shoulder that you made, and we're going to go on the opposite side. We're going to do a half on, half on the close end of the the near side of the anvil. We're going to set those shoulders. And I probably should have been hitting instead of talking. But I'm going to set these shoulders. And what you want to do is, when you're working this, you want to keep your bar of steel as parallel to the anvil as possible. We're going to have a tendency to want to compensate for this coming up, but keep it very straight while you're doing this, or you'll make a mess and it will twist on you. So just keep it straight and work it back and forth. So we're going to take another heat and work that down a little bit more. So we're going to make sure that we set right in those shoulders again. We're going to work this down. Every blow, turn it 90 degrees. What I like to do when I get a little bit low on heat, straighten out everything. This makes it a lot easier. So this takes some time, straighten it out. So we want to make sure that we don't have any twist in our well, what will be our loop. So we're just going to work that, straighten a little bit, and we're going to get another heat on that. So you're just going to keep on working this kind of area down until we get a nice taper from this side all the way down. So I'm just doing half on, half off blows to work down that steel. Then I'll just come back and smooth it out. And repeat. So at the lower heats, I'm just straightening out everything out and getting ready for the next heat. Now that we got the close side of us worked down quite a bit, we're going to go back over to the other side, far side. We're going to work that down a little bit. So we're still a little bit too thick in this area here. So I want to work that down and then slowly taper that down a lot more. Okay, we're getting pretty close. I think one more heat, just clean up that taper a little bit, and then we're gonna actually knock down the corners and start making this round. Okay, now that I got the taper pretty well what I want, I'm going to start knocking down the corners. And then I'm going to take another heat and I'm just going to round all that off. Now here I'm not doing that I'm doing light blows. Not really lifting up the hammer all that much. I'm just going around, and as I hit, just moving the material right around. So you get that kind of round, and as you get to the lower heats, that's when you can really clean it up. Then on our next heat, we're going to actually start shaping the leaf. So we're going to start with the point or the diagonal facing up, and we're going to squish that down. Okay, so with the diagonal facing up, we're just going to squish it down. The flat face of the hammer. And then we're just going to feather out. So we're going to go close to the edge of the hammer. And we're just going to do light blows to pull that steel out. And then we'll go to the other side and do the same thing. And as it gets cooled down, we're just going to do some light taps just to smooth it out a little bit. So you're going to get something a little bit like that. So I'm going to actually take one more heat to shape this out because I pulled a little bit more on this side than on this. So I'm going to take another heat, fix this side up here, bring that out a little bit more, and then we're going to start doing the circle for the key. Now when I pull out, I actually put the hammer slightly on a little angle just to use it more of a fuller. I'm just going to pull out a little bit more at the top too. Let's get it kind of that shape. And while I still have some heat in it, I'm going to take a wood block and I'm just going to hit it with the back side of the ball peen just to give it a little bit of a curve. Don't know how good that curve is showing up on it, but just to give it a little settled curve. So now we're going to take another heat and we're going to bend this into a circle. Actually, before we're going to do the circle, I'm just going to work down this side a little bit more to thin this out a little bit. I left it deliberately bigger so when we're working on the leaf, it doesn't just make a stress crack in it. So we're just going to work that down a little bit more. Square it off. I mean, round it off. And just all around clean it up. So we want to leave probably about a little bit lower than a quarter of what the material, parent material is. Maybe even an eighth. So now we're going to go and actually bend this into a circle. So I'm going to first take the leaf, and where it's curved up, I'm going to actually hit so it's almost 90 degrees. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to actually start doing my curve. Now, if you had a horn, this would be a lot easier. But I don't have a horn on this anvil, so I'm going to do it the best I can by doing it free. So you just want to kind of work it around. And if you get a kink, that's okay. We can get in there with pliers afterwards. So we're just going to bring it around and try and make as close to a circle as we can. So it's not perfect, but that is something that we can definitely work with. So I'm going to take another heat and try and straighten this up. So not having a horn, this is going to be a little bit of fidgeting around, but it can be done. So I hope you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So on my next heat, I'm going to try and pull this back piece around. So I might grab a pair of pliers or tongs. I'll use my pliers because, well, I'm assuming you don't have tongs yet. So I'm going to use my pliers to hold on to it and then pull this piece, this back piece here, around into the front. And then we'll do some straightening it out and make it all pretty. I'm just going to take it, pinch it here where I want to twist it around. And I'm just going to take it and just twist it. I'm just going to try and pull it in as much as I can. Now I want the leaf to be relatively close to... Yeah, and I just snapped it off. That's why it's always critical to work your steel hot. So I just snapped that off. So... now this is definitely something that I can continue working. Makes it a little bit harder, but I can continue working this and making it as a pretty thing. But I think for this video, I'm gonna scrap it and start fresh. So that just shows that even us experienced guys make mistakes once in a while. So if you guys do have one that just kind of shears off like I did, you know what, that's okay. We could, you know, heat this back up and rework that nicely circle, and still finish this one off. But instead, I'm actually gone and make another one. I got it basically to the same spot, and we're gonna finish it off. And this time, I'm gonna make sure I watch my heat and not shear it off like I did until I actually want to shear it off. So I'm getting a little cold again in there, so I'm just going to throw it back in the forge and heat that up, because I don't want to shear that off like this one again on this one. So now that I got it curved around, I'm going to throw some more heat in there, and then we're going to actually twist this around so you end up with a penny scroll. So we're going to just take this now, we're just going to curl it over. I'm trying to give you the best shot. It's not the easiest while I'm trying to. So we're just going to take this and twist it. Oh, I need more heat on this. Yeah, there we go. Just going to twist this around. And eventually this will snap off by us working it. There you go. Now I would have liked that to actually be more up, so I'm going to throw this back in the forge to straighten out it a little bit. But even how it is right now, you know, it's not terrible. It's definitely something you can sell. So I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to see if I can pull this a little bit more around. Straighten out this a little bit. Kind of like where that went, so just take my wire brush, brush off any of the scale I can. And there you go, you got yourself a leaf key fob. Just got to clench it a little bit so I can hold it. Yep. Now, after you got your first one done, take a little bit of time and actually look at your work. So here, I ended up bashing this a little bit, and that is something that I could heat up this again, just sit right on the corner and flush that out, and I might actually do that. You know, this, my little twist here, I would have liked to come a little bit closer into the front here. You know, definitely if you had a means to straighten this out a little bit more into a perfect circle, you can do that. So yeah, take the time and critique your work and actually look at it and see where you can improve and where, you know, you can make changes. Like my shoulders a little bit, had a little bit of, I don't know if that's going to show up or not, but it's a little bit kinked over here. So, you know, take your time, do a pile of these, and you know, enjoy forging. Now once you get mastered the leaf part of this, you can, with thinner stock, we're starting off with thinner stock, you can actually start making, you know, rings, you know, finger rings for, with the leaf on it. I've seen those get sold online and do pretty well. So that's your first project. I hope you guys enjoyed it.